everybody, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. Today we're doing something a little bit different. I want to talk to you guys about SMART goals, setting goals for your life, for the year, all that kind of stuff. Now, I know that we are already a month into 2025. However, I wanted to do this video at this point in time because when the new year comes around, we always set New Year's resolutions, goals, intentions, all of those kinds of things. And usually by the end of January, most people, if not practically everybody, has already given up on those goals. So I wanted to kind of plan this video for this point of the month so that if you're feeling kind of fed up, frustrated, all of those things, this can kind of be a little bit of a mini refresh, mini kind of reconfigure things, figuring out where you actually want the next 11 months to go and doing it with success and setting yourself up for success. So if you guys want to work on some SMART goals, revamp your 2025 goals, then just keep watching. Okay, so to get started, I created a workbook for you guys. The link is down below. It is a completely free PDF. You don't need to put your email in or anything. Now, my printer ran out of colored ink, so that's why it is in black and white. Otherwise, yours will be in color. And if I do say so myself, it's pretty. It's so absolutely gorgeous. So basically the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to take you guys through the workbook so that you guys can kind of do it real time with me. So this is really truly your guide to success, how you can plan it, how you can set yourself up to be successful, set yourself up not to fail, and actually achieve the goals that you want to achieve. The first part of it talks about what are SMART goals. Now, I use SMART goals every single day as a mental health therapist. SMART actually is an acronym, so it stands for specific, measurable, achievable or attainable, depending on how you're looking at it, realistic, and time sensitive. So what exactly does that mean? So specific is what do you want to achieve? What do you want to work on? What do you want to get? What is your goal specifically? A really good example would be if you want to get back and have a healthier lifestyle, be healthier, all of those things. That's great, but what does that look like? Is it maybe eating clean 80% of the time? Does it mean taking active movement and walks 3 days a week? That's specific. Next thing is measurable. How can you measure it? If you just say, I want to eat healthier, cool. How are you going to do that? I have no idea. But if you say, I want to eat clean 80% of the time, that's a lot easier to break down and to be specific with. When you say, I want to work out 3 days a week or take a walk 3 days a week, it's measurable. The next one is achievable or attainable. Is it realistic? Now, again, I'm going to use the weight loss for a really easy example. If you say, I want to lose 100 pounds in 6 months, that's not really realistic, unless you take drastic measures. But for most people, that's not a realistic goal. A more realistic goal would be 1 pound a week. It's healthy, our bodies can do it, and it's just more realistic. It's achievable, all that kind of stuff. The next one is, I use it as realistic. It can also be relevant. So what that means is, does the goal align with your long-term values? And this is page 3 of the workbook. Should have said that, sorry. So if you already don't live an active lifestyle, for example, is saying that you're going to work out 5 days really truly going to be realistic and reasonable? Probably not. If saying I'm going to take 1 to 2 walks a week, that is. And then the final one is time sensitive. How long do you want to take to achieve this goal? So that's basically of what a very brief rundown of SMART goals looks like. Start writing down your goals. For me, one of my goals is to build my therapy practice. What does that look like? Specifically, I have a specific caseload that I would like to have. Is it measurable? I track how many sessions per month that I do, and that's how I measure that. Is it achievable? Yes, it is. It is something that I've been doing probably for the last 2 to 3 years. I've maintained it, and so I continue to maintain it just because it keeps me on track. how relevant is it to my long-term values, my long-term goals, my life, all of that. I mean, it's my career. So of course it's very relevant and time bound. Now, if I'm going to sit and say I'm going to do 200 sessions in a month, that's a little ridiculous. That's actually very difficult to achieve. That would be doing like 50 sessions a week. Next page talks about why SMART goals actually work. So when you set SMART goals, part of what makes using the SMART technique so successful is because it really forces you to get clear and specific about what you want to achieve. It forces you to track things, it forces you to break things down, so you're more likely to stay motivated, you're more likely to stay on track. And whenever you have things that are very specific like that, it actually makes it more likely to succeed because the steps are broken down into smaller steps. Next page. So I threw in a little self-assessment into here. So before you start your goals, you've got to reflect on where you currently are. If you want to set a specific goal, again, I'm going to use the exercise one, that you want to work out 5 days a week or you want to get healthier. What are you proud of from this past year? What is something that you have achieved in the last year that you want to celebrate, that you rocked at, that you are just super happy with? Next question I have on here is, what challenges have you faced and how did you overcome them? I have this in here because when we overcome challenges, when we do things and we're successful in doing it, we can actually replicate that success by using those techniques in other areas or with other challenges and with other areas of difficulty. And the last question I have for you guys is, what areas of my life, career, health, relationships, etc., are needing the most attention? Sometimes those areas that we need the most attention on, we either focus the most on or we don't focus on. Sometimes we get obsessed with them and that's okay, but also sometimes we avoid them because there is that fear of failure, or there's that it's so important that we want to make sure we do it right, and we kind of fall victim to that perfectionist kind of mentality. So what are those areas that you need to pay attention to this year, that you need to focus on? Now, that can always change throughout the year. I'm not saying it has to be one and done for 2025, but we reevaluate this on a regular basis. Next page is where you actually are going to set your SMART goals. So this is where you put everything down. What are you wanting to accomplish? How will you know when it's accomplished? How can you achieve it? Is it worthwhile? Is it relevant? And then how long is it going to take you? Next thing that I did was I gave you guys a breakdown. What are a few steps to take to reach it? So if your goal is to work out 5 days a week, start with 1 day, then add 2, then add 3. And doing it in that slow step kind of a way sets you up to be successful. Next page is the timeline. So what do you want this to look like? So you have your goal. I gave you guys 5 weeks within this timeline. What are you going to do in week 1? Is it take a walk? In week 2, is it maybe take 2 walks? What can you do each week to build those habits? Now, I wouldn't be a good therapist if I also didn't throw in a life goals section. So what are you doing well? What do you want to improve? What are goals? But I included areas like family, friends, work, school, your body and health, mental health, spirituality. Feel free to add your own. You know, sometimes we want to start doing like working out, for example, but then it ends up being that we feel better mentally. Maybe we get better clarity in our mentality. Or maybe then you start walking with friends, or you take your family for a walk and it becomes a thing. So just because you have one goal, it can actually spread into other areas of life and actually help in other areas you may not even realize needed some improvement. So I added that in there just to kind of help you figure out really truly how to grow all of those areas. The next couple of pages, they're very similar, but I'm going to break them down for you guys anyhow. Next, you want to track everything. And so you have your goal, you have your action steps, and this is really kind of how you can track your action steps. But then I have an actual tracking page, it's the very next page, and you look at what are some milestones that you know you're making progress. What are those milestones to celebrate, to enjoy, to do all of those kinds of things? And when you hit those milestones, or maybe you hit the end of week 1, week 2, week 3, what are adjustments that need to be made? Do you need to get up a little bit earlier? Do you need to dedicate time? Do you need accountability? All of those kinds of things. So I broke it down so that you can track. And that's what you want to do. When you are tracking these measurable specific goals, you want to make sure that you are adjusting as you go. If you don't, it's going to become too rigid and you're going to give up. So you've got to keep adjusting while you go along. I always tell my therapy clients, this is a never-ending process. We always review, we adjust, we, look at what might need a tweak or a change or anything here or there, and then we go with it, and that's okay. Next page is you want to look at obstacles. There's always going to be things that pop up that could cause what I call roadblocks. Basically, these are the challenges that will actually prevent us from reaching our goals. Now, I listed the 3 biggest ones. This doesn't mean that this is all that there are, but number 1 is time management. I can't tell you how many times I've looked at something and I've said I don't have enough time, when the reality is I can make the time, but I have chosen not to make the time. Number 2 is fear of failure. I probably should have added also in fear of success. They both go hand in hand, and how many times have we not even tried something because we're afraid to fail, and if we fail, we feel like we should give up? And then the third one is the lack of motivation. So the easiest way to deal with all of these, and I've listed them here, like I said, this isn't comprehensive, this isn't everything, is with the time management, schedule it as if you're scheduling like a doctor's appointment or a hair appointment or a nail appointment or something like that. We don't cancel or skip those appointments. So schedule it in your calendar as if it's a dedicated appointment. The next thing for the fear of failure is celebrating your wins. Maybe you need to make a minor tweak or adjustment here, but what if you've had a really awesome success over there and has taken a step forward? Celebrate the successes. Now, within the realm of fear of success, same thing, celebrate it, repivot, kind of tweak everything if you're having success, because a lot of times with the fear of success, it's like, well, now what? Have the next step ready to go. And then finally, the lack of motivation. That's then when you want to revisit that relevant component. Why is it important to you? Why does it matter to you? Next, I talk about celebrating the successes. You always want to celebrate the success, whether it is a goal, a step, whether you had to pivot, had to tweak something, had to adjust something, but you're really proud of the fact that you were able to do that. You had the flexibility to be able to do that. You always want to celebrate it. So the very last page, and I encourage all of my clients to do this, is this breaks down everything that we just talked about. So we look at what the goal is, we look at what dates they were achieved, how you celebrated, what worked well, what challenges, and what goals are you setting next. Always be thinking forward, because if you don't keep thinking forward, if you don't keep, working towards goals and doing all of those things, you're going to become stagnant. And when we become stagnant, people become prone to anxiety and depression. When we have things that are pushing us forward, that are driving us forward, and it can be, again, something as simple as I took 1 walk this week, I want to take 2 next week. That's progress. That's a step forward. So this whole theme of like goals, momentum forward, success, I'm going to be working on this over the next couple of months. There's going to be a couple of videos that I'm going to be talking about things like burnout, things like confidence, things like the fear of failure, the fear of success, the thoughts or even fears of now what do I do? All that kind of stuff. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to download the workbook below, because like I said, it is free. You don't even need to put your email address in. Download it, and then in the comments below, I want to know what goals you guys are working on this year. I want to celebrate the wins. If you have a goal but you're not quite sure how to break it down, drop it below or go over to my Instagram and shoot me a message, and I'm more than happy to help you out. Don't forget to check out the socials. My Instagram, I am posting little snippets from videos just so you guys can have like some recaps, some little things like that, but there's also exclusive content that is only on Instagram, so don't forget to go check that out, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye, everybody.